We're going to start at the bottom, work up. I think the worst teams in the East will be the Hornets, the Wizards, and the Pistons. I don't necessarily dislike the direction they're going because they're young and whatnot, but I don't think they'll be very good. And I think Orlando and Indiana will be a little bit better than them, but they'll be the other two teams that won't be in that play-in area. Same thing with them. Indiana, I think, will be the best out of those teams. I think they'll be right along with the 7 through 10 play-in bunch in the regular season, but I think they'll probably fall a little bit short just because the other teams have got a bit more experience.
Yeah.
Then, so the play-in teams, I got, I think Philly's going to struggle this year, and Atlanta, but because they have some of the best players in the league, I think they'll make the play-in. But and then Chicago and Toronto with the 7 and 8 seeds. Toronto is very interesting.
So you got Philly dropping into the play-in.
Play-in, yeah.
Okay.
So the thing with Philly, I noticed last year when I was looking at their roster, they don't have anyone signed at all through next year other than Embiid.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it could be a potential. You might see the process 2.0 coming up soon.
Yeah.
Embiid's a top 10 player, but injury prone. Maxey
Yeah.
is on the end of his rookie deal, so obviously they'd like to keep him. But if things don't work out, he would be a sign and trade type player. To me, he seems like a good enough player to build around.
Okay.
But they're just not very deep anymore. They don't really use Tobias Harris.
They lost Heidel, right?
Yeah, he's in Portland,
Yeah.
and then Shake Milton went to Minnesota, which doesn't seem like much, but they were very deep at the wing position. I think they screwed up when they didn't draft Mikal Bridges, obviously. And, they just, you know, the process worked to a degree, but like you look back at it, they got rid of Drew Holiday, drafted Mikal Bridges. Just doesn't seem like a great organization, and definitely not a fan of some of Harden's off the court stuff, but he seems like he might have a point with the management organization.
Yeah, with Morey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's going to be my hot take pick to kind of fall off this year. But last year they beat Milwaukee and Boston on the road. They looked like they were a legit top 3 team with those two last year, and maybe Cleveland. But they just kind of didn't get it done in the playoffs, and got a new coach, I think. So I don't know. I just think they're starting off bad with no one's going to trade for Harden, so they're kind of stuck with what they got. And I don't think Harden's delaying Maxey's development, but I don't think he's. I don't know. I would just, if I was running that team, I'd just have Maxey and Embiid and build around those guys. We'll see.
Right.
But they brought in a perfect guy like Tobias Harris to play with him, and they don't really use him. So.
Yeah, I mean, they got to move quick because Embiid's feet are not getting any better.
Yeah. So I mean, he might be on the trade block too. Who knows?
Yeah, I've heard that.
The whole team might get blown up. So that's my hot take for the East.
Okay, so you got Chicago and Toronto.
Yeah.
Going in the 7 and 8 seed.
Right.
All right. So tell me the rest of your playoff picks.
All right.
You got going 6th.
I think Miami will get that 6th spot. I think they'll probably. They were just a totally different team in the playoffs as the regular season last year, and I think they'll be a lot the same this year, where they don't want to do the play-in, so they'll be in that 4 through 6 range. But I think they're going to be very good, even though they lost Strus and Vincent.
Yeah.
I thought the rookie from UCLA was going to be really good. It kind of looks like maybe he'll be kind of a typical rookie that won't be that great, but they kind of need him because they got Cody Martin playing above. His pay grade at power forward there. He's a fantastic player that's still very slept on, I think, but he's basically like the 4th or 5th best player on that team.
Yeah.
And then, it's a redemption year for Tyler Hero, obviously, if he gets to play the playoffs this year.
Right.
I don't know if he would have been enough to take them over the top in the finals, but they were obviously very good in the playoffs, and I don't think they were good in spite of him. I think they would have been maybe even better if he was healthy. So.
Yeah, I mean, some people speculate that Hero's defense was actually a plus, not having him as a liability out there. But I don't know. The offense is so good. I would want him on the floor.
Right. But now they have to have him because Strus and Vincent are gone.
Right.
So he's going to play 30 minutes a game.
Maybe they can make a move at the deadline.
Yeah, this is all. Everything we're doing is like, not counting. We're talking about guys that are injury prone, but obviously all our picks are if there's no injuries and no trades, which there's 100% going to be trades because it's the NBA and it's gotten great. Got them like the video game as far as the trades go.
All right, who you got 5th?
So I'm looking at a Subway series with the Knicks and Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's going to be really good. When they made the trade last year, when we thought they would fall off, I thought they would hold serve and kind of keep their playoff position. And I think they were like 3rd or 4th at the time of that trade, and they still kept 5th or 6th seed or whatever it was. Yeah. So, everything with the Nets being better than average is kind of built around Ben Simmons. They're definitely going to be a good defensive team.
Right.
Dinwiddie's a guard that can play off the ball if Simmons is a successful point guard. Yeah. And they're really young behind Claxton up front, but they got a ton of wings and bigs and stuff like that. So I think they're going to be good on defense. It's just a question if they get cooking on offense.
Okay, and they've got Bridges too. Is that right?
And Bridges is, I've always thought, one of the more underrated players. Yeah. Now he's not anymore. Now he's on the upswing, being thought of as an all-star. And
he's entering his prime, I would say.
The video game's got him ranked really high.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he can do it all. I mean, he's obviously a great defender, can shoot, and his mid-range game, now that he's not waiting on Booker to shoot all the time, his mid-range game's developing a little bit, his little playmaking abilities and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which, when you're playing behind Chris Paul and Booker, right. Anything else you can do is a bonus. But I think he's going to take the lead a little bit with Brooklyn, and I think the Knicks will be good, but I think it might be the same old story with the Knicks that good, but can they do it in the playoffs? Knicks fans are harsh on Randall, sometimes rightfully so.
Rightfully so, yeah.
I love, Brunson's obviously a top 10 point guard at this point.
Yeah.
And then, Barrett will he be an all-star or not? Will he be more than just a nice young wing? He's not, guys like him and Zion aren't young anymore. They got to prove themselves this year, I think. There's no more development phase. If the Knicks are going to be a contender, R.J. Barrett needs to be a big-time wing player because they're stacked with guards. And Thibodeau is obviously a good coach, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get all those guys playing time. He likes to keep the same rotations.
Yeah.
Who knows how that'll work out because they paid so many guys, and we've seen what happened with Evan Fournier being disgruntled and stuff. Yeah. Thibodeau just doesn't. Same Derrick Rose, I think.
Quite a few players that have gone that route.
Yeah, because he won't put you in the rotation for weeks at a time. So, deep team though, I think they're going to win a bunch of playoff games, but we'll see what happens in the playoffs.
Okay. Who's third?
So third, I'm putting Cleveland ahead of Boston and Milwaukee regular season because I think Cleveland's going to be hungry. I don't know. All these teams are pretty deep, but I'm putting Milwaukee at third just because I think they did lose a little something. Obviously, you lose some defense with Drew Holiday. I think getting rid of Grayson Allen's a good thing. They were kind of playing. They played all those two guards, Connaughton, Matthews, different guys. Play them each 20 minutes a game. I think they just need to pick like Pat Connaughton, play him 30 minutes a game, and either he plays well or he doesn't. Instead of so much rotation, especially at least going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think the Lillard Antetokounmpo is a great combination. I mean, you can't look at his driving ability and Lillard's shooting ability, and then you look at Chris Middleton coming in to fill that mid-range. Mm-hmm. It's a hell of a trio now. If they're all healthy, they're all on top of the game. Big Middleton fan, him being from South Carolina, 843 area, but he was crucial too. He was a mid-range assassin the year that they won it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Lillard and Antetokounmpo won't be enough with that team. Portis is a great high-energy backup. Lopez was.
Oh yeah, Portis is amazing.
Yeah,
so solid.
So, but I don't think without any of those three guys, they're not going to win it. But I think with those three guys in their depth, that's who I'm picking. And then, but Boston, I think Boston benefited from the Lillard trade as much as Milwaukee did, getting Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
The big question with them is losing Robert Williams, that shot blocking.
Right.
And Will Horford and Porzingis be able to play 70 plus games.
Right.
Because they're going to play Luke Cornett a lot.
Yeah.
He's no longer going to be a part of. He's going to play every half now, I think, at backup center. So they're going to have guys like him up front that a lot of people outside of Boston don't know, and they're going to depend on him. But they're obviously they loaded at backcourt. Yeah. I mean, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Brown, and Tatum's as good as a 4-man plus Horford and Porzingis at center. It's as good a starting five as there is.
Yeah, it's got to be the best in the NBA right now.
And if you bring in Horford or Derek White, either one off the bench, you're talking a premium 6-man. So they're pretty loaded in that aspect. But the only reason I got Cleveland ahead of them is that's regular season wise. I think they'll be hungrier. And a lot of people are saying Mitchell might want to play for a bigger market, but I don't see anything wrong with a similar backcourt like that. To me, they look really good.
I think he's happy there.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't believe all the media stuff about that.
Yep.
But, to me, teams they got two similar guards, two similar bigs. Mobley's a lot better on offense than Allen, but you have to prove that it works. But I think it's possible, at least for regular season purposes. I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, I'm not hating that pick. Evan Mobley is just a beautiful player,
and he's another guy that might go in from that third tier into that first tier. Him, Jaren Jackson, other guys like that. Yeah. But I don't think they've reached their potential yet. Yeah.
Mobley reminds me of Chris Bosh a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Definitely same athleticism wise.
Right. Okay, well, just real quick, I'm going to counter you, Boston. I'm going to let you know what I thought about it. I pretty much got the same guys missing the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I've got the Hornets. Wizards are probably going to be abysmal. The Pistons are not going to be there yet, even though they've got the Thompson kid and Cade are looking bright for the future, but not yet. I've got the Raptors missing. I think that Siakam's a great player, but they lost Van Fleet.
Right.
That's going to hurt them a lot, I think, and I just can't see them.
The whole thing with the Raptors that I'm thinking, obviously they got wings for days.
Yeah.
Probably going to be a trade deadline team, 100%.
Yeah.
Schroeder, I think, is capable of playing 30 minutes a game at point guard. But the thing is, they lost Van Fleet, brought in Schroeder, still never added a backup point guard, which you kind of have to have in the league, especially when you got 3 big-time wings that need the ball. But the way they play, they're going to be good. They're always tough to beat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, their defense and their length keeps them right there in the mix.
Yeah.
The other team I got missing is the Magic.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of team that I like to watch
Great front
a
court.
lot. I mean, they're one of my favorite teams in the NBA, to be honest with you. Franz Wagner is going to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Banchero is already a star,
Right.
And then I think that Markelle Fultz is on the upswing. He's a solid, one of the best players getting to the paint in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that he's solid around the point, and I see them trending upward in the next couple of years, but not yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the play-in, I've got the Heat, the Nets, Pacers, and the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to have the Pacers and the Hawks missing the playoffs out of those 4 teams. I don't have much to say about the Pacers. I mean, I think that they're going to build around Halliburton, but right now I just don't see them going too far above the play-in.
Yeah, I think they're interesting. It'll be, the rookies will have to make them better than an average team, and I don't think that's going to happen this year. Maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah, I do like Mathurin, I have to say.
Yeah, him and Halliburton are great, so they're definitely going to be a tough. None of these teams in the East, unless they sneak it up themselves, if they go out to any of these teams could beat the other if they're hot. But it's kind of the way it is in professional NBA right now.
Exactly. And so got the Heat and the Nets making the playoffs. Obviously, at this point, our list is pretty much the same from this point on. With maybe the exception of the Raptors, but the Heat I feel like are going to drop off because of the loss of Strus and Vincent. The Nets, like you said, I think Claxton and Simmons is going to equal a very good defensive team. After that, I've got the Bulls. Obviously, that's where my heart lies.
Homer pick for sure.
But I do feel that the second half of the year with the Bulls last year showed that there was potential for that team, even without Lonzo. That things kind of rested with the point guard position being filled by somebody who can be a steady hand and somebody who can hit the 3. So I think that the addition of Javon Carter can help do that for them. And then if they stick Kobe White and Patrick Williams in the second unit, that's going to work for them.
Right.
So the only thing that can stop them is Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
If Billy D doesn't make those right decisions, then it could be a hard year for Chicago.
Yeah, ton of depth in the backcourt and the wing, just not much up front is the reason I don't see them, winning more closer to 40 than 50 games because, you count on the 2, Pat Williams and the Vujic a lot. So they're capable. I do like the center. Is it Nikola?
Nikola Vucevic.
Nikola, but the thing I like about him is he plays his best against his best competition. Like when Nikola Jokic or Embiid comes to town, his numbers are going to go up, which is to me pretty impressive. And it makes Chicago a team that you have to take seriously. But them, I think will they trade stuff? If they're trending upwards, they're 5 games above 500 going into the trade deadline. I think they're definitely going to keep that roster. But there's about probably 10 teams in the league in that little category where it'd be eligible. Where they are at the trade deadline facilitates what they got going on. Just free agency is going to be wild next year if not.
Right. Okay, so I got the Knicks, in the fifth spot. I think that Brunson is actually a top 3 point guard in the league. I think he's a proven winner. He won in college, and I think that the way that Dallas trended downward after he left, and the way that the Knicks immediately trended upward shows how much of an effect he has on winning. And the rest of the team, Randall and Barrett, I say that their ceiling is dependent upon those guys and the effort and how much success they can have.
Yeah, I think Brunson's great for that team because I don't think Barrett and Randall are Knicks fans won't say they choke and this and that. I think momentum kind of is subconscious to those guys. I don't think they want to fall off when they're struggling, they're missing shots and stuff like that. But Brunson is a total cool hand Luke.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're down 10, up 10. You're getting excellent play. So I think that's the perfect point guard for them.
Agreed. So I've got the Sixers coming in 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree with you that they've got some issues that are going to hurt their success. But I do think that Embiid is still in his prime, still going to be playing at a high level. Harden, even though he's struggled, a known cancer to most teams, he still is going to go out there and get the assists. He's going to score some points for you. And, Maxey is a known...
it's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a sort of a, known quantity for your team. He's going to do some good things. The Cavs, I've got it 3. I feel very similar to you about this team. They're a very, very good team. Donovan Mitchell is, a top 10 player in the league. Last year he scored 71 points on my Bulls, and just had the Cleveland just feeling electric with his play. To me, he has so much personality, and he really fires that whole scenario up.
Yeah.
Which the team was already really good.
Right.
The year before when they had Markkanen and
crazy trade.
They had all the height in the world, right?
Yeah.
The tallest team I ever saw play. They had Kevin Love, who's like 6'8". They had Markkanen, who's like 6'10". Mobley, 6'10". And then, of course, they got Garland at the point, who's wonderful. And they've added Strus, right?
Right.
So the three-point shooting. So I think that the top 3 could go any which way in the regular season. I couldn't see the Cavs finishing at the top, but I've got them at 3. And I've got the Bucks at 2, and then the Celtics at 1.
Right.
And the Bucks, I would actually have them at 1 if they hadn't made the trade, to be honest with you. I like Drew Holiday on that team. And I would have, personally, if I was the GM, I would have never made that trade.
Right. It's very interesting they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it benefits them as far as ticket sales and I'm sure, excitement and, but...
It was an offense for defense trade for sure.
Exactly. So we'll see how good that offense can be and whether the defense could stay somewhat competitive.
When Drew Holiday was hot on offense, you win championships, kind of that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, Middleton was fantastic too, but
yeah,
Drew's definitely has some inconsistent offensive games. So
yeah, I mean Middleton probably is the X factor for that
his
team.
Health and stuff,
His health is, if he's healthy all season, the Bucks could be dominating. It's possible.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about them in the regular season is I don't know maybe about the year before, but last year they definitely lost to Detroit, lost to a bunch of bad teams where then they got absolutely crushed by the Celtics that one game. So I don't. It's hard to say a team's taking it all. Sometimes you're just playing a professional basketball team that scores 120 points and there's nothing you can do. But they had a lot of questionable losses on their regular season roster last year.
Yeah. And so lastly, obviously, I got the Celtics at number 1. Celtics, the best starting 5 in the NBA. Similar to the Bucks, Porzingis, I would say, is their X factor. If Porzingis can stay healthy and perform at a high level, it could be one of the best teams we've ever seen. I feel like that Brown and Tatum are in their prime. They're both top 15 players in the league. Tatum, I felt like deserved MVP consideration last year, and if he improves upon what he did last year, I would say he would be in the top 5 players in the league and run for consideration for MVP. And so that's going to wrap it up for the regular season. Let's let's make some picks for the playoffs. All right, and so we're now doing our picks for the playoffs for the 2023-2024 season. Bostradamus takes away.
All right, so in the play-in, I'm gonna say Atlanta wins just because Trae Young's so good in the playoffs. He's kind of proven that. Can't take that away from him. So I think he'll at least get the play-in bid along with Philadelphia. But I'm gonna have them losing to Cleveland and Boston in the first round. Then Heat versus Milwaukee. I'm gonna take Milwaukee. I just can't see them getting. I mean, Heat pumped Milwaukee and Boston last year. I just can't see that happening again. It was a thing to watch. Like, Miami, say what you want about them, but they totally schoolyard bullied Milwaukee and Boston back to back. It was a thing to watch. But I don't think they can do it back to back. Subway Series, Brooklyn versus the Knicks. I'm gonna pick the Knicks just because they're a bit of a tough matchup maybe for Brooklyn. But I'm gonna be enjoying watching Brooklyn play this year. They're gonna be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Knicks playing Cleveland, losing to Cleveland in that round, and then Boston, Milwaukee. I'm gonna take Milwaukee. I think several years now there's been a quarter final or a semifinal in the conference matchup was determined the rest of the thing, and I think this year in the East, Boston, Milwaukee are the 2 and 3 seeds. That'll definitely be as good as the championship. Basically, I think when the Nets, when Milwaukee beat the Nets when they won it, I felt like whoever wins this is going to win the whole thing. And people always give that talk trash about that Brooklyn team, but they were that close to beating Milwaukee and probably would have played the Hawks. Pretty easy matchup, and then advance. But I'm gonna take Milwaukee over Boston. I think Milwaukee's size will be too much for Boston. Kind of a bad matchup for them. Boston is as good a guard backcourt as anybody to cover Damian, though. So I think the X factor, if that's a playoff series, will obviously be Drew Holiday versus Damian Lillard. So I think that would be super interesting. Drew's top defensive guard, but Damian, if he's hot, and you're not gonna be able to stop him. And I think Boston also is a great team to cover Chris Middleton, but vice versa. Chris Middleton's a good defensive player to have against Jaylen Brown and Tatum when he gets rotated onto him and stuff like that. So I think Milwaukee's just kind of a bad matchup for Boston more so than vice versa.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have Cleveland over the Knicks, and then Cleveland Milwaukee. Cleveland on paper looks like a great team to go against Milwaukee. You got Mobley, Jared Allen, stuff in the lane against Antetokounmpo, keeping Bobby Portis off the glass, stuff like that. But same thing with the Bucks. They got Brook Lopez, who's going to limit anything those easy field goals that they're going to get. And then Dame versus Garland and Donovan Mitchell, just another fantastic matchup.
Yeah.
But I think if it came down to Milwaukee and Cleveland, I think one of these Cleveland wings will have to step up. It's not impossible to think Okoro could be a big player, or one of their wings might step up and make them a legit fifth option on the team. But right now, if that was the series, you got to say, Chris Middleton's probably scored 30 points a game, and can kind of control those games. So I'm gonna take Milwaukee to win the East.
Okay. Not hating that. Not hating that. Smart pick. All right. Well, in the East, I got the Celtics, obviously my number 1 seed, playing the Heat, my 8 seed, and the Celtics are definitely going to shut down the Heat, but like you said, lightning's not striking twice.
Yeah, it'd be impressive if it did, that's for sure.
I mean, Butler raises his game every single time, there's no doubt about that, but the loss of Strus, I think, can't be underestimated, whatever. He spread the floor and hit the threes for him.
And I do love Bam Adebayo. I haven't mentioned that yet. But I think he proved himself even though he lost against Jokic. I think there's nobody in the league that he's scared of and can't score on.
Yeah, absolutely. Great player. But the Celtics are too good. So they're going to take out the Heat in the first round. And then I've got the Bucks and the Nets, 2 versus 7. And the Bucks are taking that one as well. I've got the Cavs and the Bulls going at it with the 3 and 6 seed. The Cavs take care of the Bulls. Bulls just can't get past the first round with that team.
That would be a bad matchup for them if that's the case. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And unfortunately, if that does happen, that might be the time when management finally starts to say, well, we're going to have to do something different.
Yeah.
So I love that team, but that may be the end of the road for it. Then I've got 76ers versus. I'm sorry, got something messed up there. Who's
The
other
Knicks,
team?
maybe.
Yes. Thank you. 76ers versus the Knicks, and 76ers are going to take that. I know we're kind of going in opposite directions on the Sixers as far as what they're going to do this year, but I still think that Embiid is at a super high level, and the team is still really good, even though I think that series could go the other way. I wouldn't want to bet on that series at all. I think the Knicks could pull that one out. So for the conference semis, that's going to leave the Celtics versus the Sixers and the Bucks versus the Cavs. And I am seeing the Celtics handling the Sixers with ease, and I'm seeing the Cavs beating the Bucks. I just think that the Cavs are on their way up. I think that team is looking at success in the playoffs for years to come. I think that Mobley is super. Mitchell is only 26 years old. Garland, 24, 25, something like that. So they're on their way up. The Bucks, I just don't see the Dame thing working out too well. So could be wrong, but we'll see. Celtics versus Cavs. That's a great series. I got the Celtics taking care of the Cavs. Cavs, it's going to be their first time there.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be ready to pull it off yet. The Celtics have been knocking at the door for a number of years now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to pull it off.
Yeah. We'll say Garland's had some decent success against Boston, but overall, they definitely don't have the wings Boston does.
Yeah.
Not even close on that.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for the East. Let's take a look at the West.
All right. So West, probably the weakest